The Olympics are postponed, a notable coaching change, and more from the front lines as everything has changed in the TX Water Polo world. Here we go. I'm James Smith, still in Santa Fe, and Joe Linehan is self-quarantined in North Texas. Are you hanging in there, Joe?
Self-quarantine is probably a little bit too harsh of a label, but I am hanging in there, yes.
You think so? Yeah.
I have it a little bit easier than probably most
We're
people.
essentially doing that.
Well, I mean, yeah,
How
but
so?
That I have it easier than most people? I don't have kids.
Yeah.
We just have 2 dogs. I normally work from home.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And my wife is now home from and she's a teacher, so she's about to get busy with everything going back to the online school. So I think we are good,
Right.
Relative to some other people. It could be a lot harder. So
We're generally good too. We had decided to come back to Texas on Saturday, which is, no major great news, but we had debated staying longer because things are relatively easy up here in Santa Fe. New Mexico is, big state. Did you know there's only 2 million people in the entire state of New Mexico? So it's a lot of space, but we have stuff to do. So we got to come back on Saturday, and we get to experience the rest of what Texans get to experience.
And I think all Texans kind of read this morning and kind of woke up kind of to the news, some big water polo news, or just, I guess, just big sports news in general. Olympics has been postponed until 2021. What do you think?
Yeah, 2021. Right. I posted a piece on Total Water Polo this morning just covering what Chris Ramsey said in response to it. It was he supported the decision. It was inevitable. I mean, all of us could see that on Twitter and so on when you see people like or organizations like the Canadian Olympic Committee saying that they're not going to send players or athletes to the games. It was not sustainable. It was not something that could happen. It's going to have and has had profound effects on what's going on with water polo in the United States, but none of it was a surprise. Do you think?
No, not at all. I mean, I think this is probably the kind of the social responsible thing to do, and I completely support it. And I mean, why rush it this year when we can just kind of do a better job with it next year, right? So there's plenty of other stuff to worry about out there. I do find it humorous, though, that I did read that they're still going to call it the 2020 Olympics, but it's going to be in 2021.
Yeah, all the branding is done. They've got all the T-shirts are printed.
But
they don't want
but they have plenty of time
on the end of it.
But they have plenty of time to change that up. So there you go. But I mean, I just find it humorous that the only other time that they did not have or postponed or canceled, the Olympics was kind of due to world wars. So this is the level of that internationally.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
And it's definitely,
and it's had its effects here in the States too.
Yeah, and I mean, I've gotten a lot of questions yesterday, and then earlier this morning was about what about the National Junior Olympics in Northern California, and the answer right now is we don't know. It is still scheduled to move forward as planned. As of right now, USA Water Polo did put out a note to all members, this morning that all USA Water Polo events and practices and activities kind of should be canceled through April 17th. So to me, I'm like, I think everybody's just going to be waiting for a couple of weeks to see what happens, and then we will go kind of move forward. But what if we don't have JOs this summer? Thoughts, James?
The summer is made for junior Olympics. It's the defining moment of the summer. But as we've talked about, this is an issue that spans much greater than the water polo community. It just makes sense like that everything else should be canceled as well, essentially. I mean, I suppose there could be exceptions, and we just simply don't know at this point. But if that were to take place, I could see it basically just shutting the summer down as well.
Well, I kind of see it like this. Yes, if they need to cancel JOs, again, it's the social responsible thing to do if it comes to that. But pools start opening up again here in late May or early June, there's no reason that the Texas water polo community can't come together and kind of put on different tournaments and have some different championships to allow the athletes to play a little bit this summer, to get them out of the house and give them something to do.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's again, we don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot going on out there, but there's too many questions. Yeah, right now. So
too many questions. What does this do for? And again, it's speculation at this point, but zone championships obviously are required in order to go to Junior Olympics, and Junior Olympics is still on the calendar. What do we know about that?
Well, it's that's the big question. Obviously that kind of, can we have JOs if we don't have the zone championships or the zone quals? That's the big question. Or are we just going to have teams kind of just sign up because there's going to be a lot less teams that are going to be willing to travel or ready to travel by the end of the summer? These are all kind of questions that are being asked right now. And again, in a couple of weeks or about a month, those type of decisions are going to start being made. So.
Right. NCAA season, that's not news, but came official last week. So we're really just shut down. We're going to sit here vamping for the next few weeks about what's really about speculation. We're not entirely sure what's going on. But that's it to start. I think let's come back and we'll talk a little bit about high school water polo, and then even delve into what club stuff is happening. And we'll talk about that next.
Right about now, you might be expecting some song and dance about a product you don't need. Well, shush, we don't advertise here, and we want to keep it that way. So we sure would appreciate your help. Show your support by going to TXWaterpolo.com/donate so we can keep covering the sport we love in the great state of Texas.
Hi, this is Natalie Benson, and you are listening to a podcast about water polo in Texas.
It's James and Joe back with you for the TX Water Polo Podcast. Things have obviously changed immensely, and the format of this is going to be probably a little bit different. We're going to have a lot of conversations with people, and probably even a little bit of nostalgia. But before we get into any of that, to delve back into what's happening in Texas, it was confirmed this last week that UIL activities of all kind, or all competition rather, shall be banned until May 4. And Joe, you have some information about how it affects practices and such. But basically, TISCA has followed suit and just said we're simply not going to have anything at least until May.
Yeah. So TISCA basically, or TISCA Water Polo, has basically, if the UIL chooses to move forward with their spring sports at some point, then the water polo season will move forward. Now, if the UIL decides to cancel all of the spring sports, well, then the high school season, will be canceled. So basically, TISCA Water Polo is going to be waiting for what the UIL says. And as of right now, there's no competitions through May 3rd. Now but they have some language in there that if schools and school districts are capable, that they can start practicing kind of prior to that in the middle of April as needed. So it's just, again, it's a big wait and see type kind of attitude right now. So
yeah, your spring football practices may still be able to take place. That's the irony of it all. But
no comment
my
on
understanding
that.
of it.
No comment on that. If you are curious on
what the real sport is.
If you're curious, everybody out there, the UIL website is uiltexas.org, uiltexas.org. So, and they have some press releases and they put up updates every couple of days there. Some other events, I think we mentioned this last week a little bit. The Southside Badger Brawl on April 4th and 5th has been canceled. The Houston Open, which is a Masters event, which is April 25th and 26th, is currently to be determined. They're still kind of evaluating the situation. All local game days are canceled, postponed, or TBD. The TAGS tournament, the Texas Age Group State Water Polo Champs. Now that is currently scheduled for May 9th, 10th. It is still scheduled at this time, but again, it's going to be determined on if we can get back in the water, teams can start practicing, and or even if the school districts open up their facilities, because it's actually scheduled for a school district pool.
Right.
At this time, the Welcome to Texas shootout in May is still scheduled, along with all the other stuff in kind of during the summer. But again, as more information comes around, then we will make some more finite decisions. So.
Tune in next week. We'll have some more information.
And everybody can kind of keep up on the Southwest Zone kind of water polo calendar. That's at the Southwest Zone website. That is southwestwaterpolo.org. So, and James actually keeps that website up to date. I actually keep the calendar up to date. So
some of it. That's among other things. Ramping up total water polo again. I know I said it earlier, but I've got some stuff taking place. So back into that journalistic fold. Also, both of us have club teams to manage and to work with. I know that Twitter is basically loaded with training at home videos and other efforts, and so it's been pretty easy in the sense of being able to send workouts out to my athletes. I actually just went to YouTube, and there's a site called Fitness Blender. I don't get any money from them or anything like that. That's actually quite good. So I have a few workouts that they can do along with YouTube. Plus there's ball handling stuff like that. How long this is going to last, I'm not sure, but it's obviously something that they got to do in order to stay shape if and when we get in the pool anytime soon.
Yeah, and I'm sending stuff back to the Mavericks and Lone Star Water Polo people and like the athletes and parents. I'm trying to send an email on Tuesday, so kind of right before we got on the podcast today, I kind of sent out my email. This week I sent out a bunch of kind of videos from Cap 7 that are doing some remote training videos, and they're in their YouTube channels, their tips of the week. Last week I sent out some stuff for the 6-8 sports, as well as just some general kind of links and kind of articles and videos and such. So I just try to send out something a little bit different each week. And then, and what I basically do is I'll just collect the stuff kind of between the Tuesday emails and just kind of put it together all in one place and kind of send it out. And then also yesterday, USA Water Polo sent out to all members, like USA or like the At Home with USA Water Polo, which has a whole schedule of kind of the Instagram kind of talks and the interviews and articles and some challenges and stuff like that. So go check that out and I think USA Water Polo is at USAWP for their Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So
there's just no excuse basically for not working out. There's just so much available out there, including I've seen Zoom workouts, that are live. So that's we've got some options. It's certainly suboptimal, but that's the way it goes. All right. These shows are
And hey, if you have a pool, definitely utilize it, especially as it gets a little warmer. Definitely get out there and swim and pass and train, and get a rebounder or order a ball online. There's lots of ways to come back from this even a better and more knowledgeable player. So,
there's a video of a young woman who's in the pool I don't remember where it was. I think it's the Midwest in a wetsuit. So, it can be done. Like I thought about that myself. Like I have a pool at home, but I don't have a wetsuit, and I've become very wimpy about cold water. So I don't think that's going to be me, but somebody else who's younger could get away with that.
And I stopped getting in the pool a long time ago. So there you go.
As we both know. Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up, and we're going to talk to Joe had a conversation with Foster head coach Scott Slay earlier today. We cover a lot of territory, including a coaching change. So when we come back, we'll talk with Scott Slay, and then we'll wrap things up.
Hey, this is Mark Lawrence from Boston College, head coach of the men's and women's water polo programs and home of our Kangaroos. When I'm interested in what's going on with Texas Water Polo, I always listen to TXWaterpolo Podcast.
I'm here with Scott Slay, who is the head coach of Foster High School, also the head coach of Viper Pigeons. Actually, you've done a lot of different things over the years. How are you doing right now with the whole COVID-19 thing?
I'm doing really good. We're doing good. We're bunkered down here at our house. We got 2 kids that are doing school stuff daily. thank goodness we have a backyard pool, so we're in that a lot, and it's been a lot of getting in the water and going on runs and bicycle rides and stuff to keep us busy.
You become a little bit more creative, I assume, with your parenting, right?
Oh, you got to keep them occupied. But luckily, they started their online school this week, so that takes up a couple hours a day, and just wearing them out, basically.
Yeah. When is Katie? Yeah, like your kids go to Katie ISD. So when are they scheduled to go back to school? As of right now, of course things can change.
They're scheduled to go back April 13th. We will know more, I'm sure. I foresee that date getting extended, unfortunately. But as of now, it's April 13th.
Okay, good. Now, I mean, so yeah, for everybody, this is Scott Slay. He's the head coach at Foster High School. He is the head coach for the Viper Pigeons. Now, a lot of people don't know that, like you currently live in Katy, but you kind of got your start in the water polo world over in Baytown, right? So what year did you graduate from Baytown Sterling?
I graduated from Baytown Sterling in 1996, so quite a few years ago.
There you go. I graduated from high school in 1992, so I'm a little bit older. So, but and then you went and played up at Slippery Rock, correct?
Yeah, I played at Slippery Rock University. I played 3 years, 96 to 99, and my last year I broke my thumb for like the 50th time, and that made it hard to catch and throw.
You broke your thumb for the 50th time? I haven't heard that before.
Well, and maybe not the 50th. That might be exaggerated a little bit, but every time you break it, it gets a little bit worse, and I probably should have gone to seek medical attention, but that was just not me.
So did you enjoy your time in Western Pennsylvania?
I enjoyed it in September and May, but
it's a little cold up there, isn't it? It's a little cold.
It starts, the winter starts about Halloween and it ends about April, late April. So a lot of cold walks home from places. But luckily the pool was always really warm.
And then you decided to come back as quickly as possible to Texas, and I think you started like kind of coaching at Ross Sterling, and helping out Mac McDonald there, and also starting club water polo too, right?
Yeah, I mean, back in the old days of there was a thing called the Jalapeno League in this area. I basically started coaching what they called Baker Road Aquatics Team, Brat. In 1990.
I remember Brat. I played against Brat a long time ago. So there you
go. That was actually started by Tom Landgraf. And I, when Coach McDonald took over, I was a coach for him in the summer of 1997. So 19-year-old coach, basically.
There you go. Yeah. And then you never knew what it was going to lead to, right? So yeah, the riches of coaching water polo in Texas. But correct me. So you were 19 years old then, but weren't you like also reffing in high school, and didn't you like referee the high school state championship game, whenever you were like 22 years old?
I think the first time I reffed a high school championship game, I was probably 22 years old.
How was that?
Well, I can say now I was probably in over my head. I don't know, maybe the coaches at the time thought they could, take advantage of the young guy.
Well, I'm sure so did you ever give anybody a yellow card or a red card? Yeah, during your days?
Quite frankly, as a referee, I've never carried cards in my pocket.
There you go. Hey, things have changed quite a bit, a lot since then, about 20 years ago. So, and then you started, obviously you kind of started building some club water polo kind of over in Ross Sterling and Baytown, kind of area. So kind of tell us about that a little bit.
Well, of course we started with the Baker Road Aquatics team. Then after that, we decided, honestly, I drove past a lowrider one day and they had a dirty bay. The it's a nickname for Baytown, is Dirty Bay, because of the beautiful waters of Baytown. And there was a lowrider club called Dirty Bay Lowrider Club, and I kind of stole their name, and we became Dirty Bay Water Polo Club. That basically it became bigger than that, because it wasn't just kids from Baytown, it became kids from Clear Lake area as well. So it actually became a pretty good sized club.
Hmm. Now, here, I've never heard that story about how kind of Dirty Bay. I just have, there's like 5 or 6 different stories kind of floating about that. I just like the one that I've told people was it was the opposite of Clear Lake. So,
well,
there you go.
It is the opposite of Clear Lake, but it was just funny to see the sign, and I that was the inspiration. We were known as the group that was a little bit rough around the edges, and we just kind of went with it.
And then Dirty Bay turned into Texas Water Polo, and then you kind of merged with the Houston Water Polo Club at one point, right?
That's correct. I merged with a guy named Joe Linehan in about 2007, maybe.
It all blends now. It all blends. But then after that, it's like, and then you just took I guess the Houston Water Polo kind of turned into West Houston, which now is the Viper Pigeon of today, correct?
Right. And then we went through a couple, I honestly think club in Houston is still kind of evolving as well. I think it's taken some strides in the last few years, more clubs, but we've gone apart, we come back together, we've gone apart, we come back together, and I think now we're spreading out more.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, he's not only been a referee and a high school coach and a club coach. He was also, it wasn't called the ODP program back then, but he was a zone team coach for from the late 90s to about 2010.
99 roughly to 2010, yes.
And just all the different age groups and genders. And he's also been he's also the current TISCA Water Polo Chair, which is the person that's in charge of all high school water polo. And he's not only the current one, but he was also the past TISCA Water Polo Chair kind of back in the mid 2000s, and also been the region chair kind of here or there. I believe you're also on the Southwest Zone board as well, right?
Yeah, I have a few different hats. I think that's just kind of part of the responsibility of, taking the sport. Like you probably bite off more than you can chew, honestly, but just helping out where you can.
Yeah, exactly. And I do appreciate all the help that you've done and all the sacrifices and time you've put in over the years. And I'm sure a lot of kids and thousands of kids are kind of very appreciative. Now, talking about kind of Texas kind of high school water polo, what can you tell us about the current status?
Well, we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. We don't know what's coming. We're following whatever the UIL decides for team sports or any sports according to the UIL. So when we know something from them, then that's when we're, then we'll act. The good news is we've done some things. We've made some adjustments to our schedules. We've sent that out to people like various coaches or all the high school coaches, but we don't know what to do. We're just making plans, and if they allow us to do it.
So basically, if the UIL kind of moves forward and they compete in their spring sports, water polo will compete.
Correct.
And vice versa. If they decide to cancel their spring sports, then the high school water polo season will be canceled. Is that essentially kind of what's going on?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now.
Okay, good. And then I believe that, I kind of feel it's very important if we can do a high school season, that we do, even if it's back into May or even into June a little bit, and then we can move all the other USA water polo kind of events around. I just think because of the sanctioning of the sport kind of this past October, I just think it's very, very important.
Absolutely. I mean, every year needs a champion. I hope we get the opportunity to do that this year.
And I believe the girls are going to be defending their championship, correct? The boys are going to be looking to get back kind of to the championship game if we are able to play. So what are you doing with your foster boys now and girls?
I send them workouts. Good thing for me is we got with internet, there's just so many workouts you can pull off the internet and just adjust them as you want. I send them out to basically, I've sent them out via, I use Remind 101 a lot for my club team and for my high school team. And I just take a picture of a workout and send it to everybody at once.
And then, I mean, I know that this is not necessarily important to talk about right this second, but, I don't think it's a secret anymore, but I mean, you're going to be moving to Katy ISD for the 2020-2021 school year. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I did accept a job at a new school in Katy ISD called Jordan High School. It's 5 minutes from my house. Katy ISD, now that water polo will be moving towards UIL, it's a giant school district in this area and a lot of resources, and they're getting themselves organized for upcoming UIL water polo, and they kind of wanted me to be a part of it. So they kind of gave me an offer, and I just saw some opportunity to expand high school and expand club as well.
That's exciting because I think you and I have talked about the possibility of Katy water polo for years and years and years, about this, like the untapped potential out there, and now you're going to be right in the middle of it, which is going to be incredible. There's lots of opportunities.
Yeah, there's so many kids in this area. There's young families, young kids, and I think this is a type of sport that will just explode in this area. Every high school in Katy has a swimming pool. They have an all deep pool, and there's 9 schools. So lots of potential.
But more importantly, again, I think you mentioned it's 5 minutes away from your house, which is about a mile probably. So I think your kids are going to be loving that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting as far as the travel goes. Not that Foster was 15 minutes away. It's not like it was very far. But it's just, a big motivating factor was to expand into this area and to, just up the ante in the Houston area.
Well, I think we all wish you the best of luck with that. I also hope that you get to I hope that the high school season will be played here in a couple of weeks, and we will see. We're all going to be kind of watching what the UIL says. But I do appreciate the time, Scott. Kind of good luck, and kind of be safe and stay healthy.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
That was Joe's conversation with head coach Scott Slay from earlier today. But aside from that, we're done, right, Joe?
Aside from the conversation, yeah. But so what do you think about Scott moving to Katy ISD?
I have known that it was possible for some time, and I'll tell you what comes to mind first is that he has an opportunity now to have won championships at 4 different schools. That's something quite impressive, and I know that it's going to bleed over into UIL water polo, but to me, just the fact that he can go to these different places and be so successful, he's got to be considered one of the best coaches in the history of Texas, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, kind of during the interview, we hit upon it as far as, he's been around for 20 years and he's worn a lot of different hats, and he still wears a ton of different hats, and we all do. Yeah, we all do. Like the big joke is, if we didn't have conflict of interest, we wouldn't have a sport. So, Scott has coached, he's refereed.
No kidding.
He's on the Southwest Zone board. He's currently the TISCA Water Polo Chair for his second stint on that. So he's been kind of right there in the midst of doing a lot of different things, and he's been one of those people that has been integral to the growth of the sport over the last 10, 15, 20 years. So, and I think he's going to do great things in Katy. Great things.
Seems like it. He's set up for success there. Yeah. So thank you to him again, and thank you Joe for spending some time in our quarantine together. And thank you to everyone for listening and for telling a friend about the TX Water Polo Podcast. You can go to TXWaterpolo.com to listen to the podcast, find us on social media, leave comments, give to the cause, and stay up to date on the state of the game in Texas and elsewhere. I'm also going to plug my other site, TotalWaterpolo.com. Go check that out. We're having updates, and there's going to be some new content there as well. But until next week, so long from Santa Fe.
All right, take care, James.
This has been a production of TWP Sports LLC.
My dog is scratching at the door.
I can hear him.